Hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm really excited today because I have Danny Johnson with Lead Propeller, who's going to talk about how to use real estate investor websites to find motivated sellers. Before we get into that, let me tell you a little bit about Danny. Danny is a fellow Texan, so we share that in common. And he has been investing since 2003 and has flipped and wholesaled over 1,000 houses. He's also the creator of the popular Flipping Junkie podcast and blog. And he also has a lead deal management pipeline software called LeadPropeller. We probably will do another demo video in the future to talk about that. But for today, we're just going to be talking about motivated seller websites with Lead Propeller. And Danny does use this tool in his business. And Danny, I'm very excited to have you today. And I appreciate you taking the time to kind of walk us through the investor website for motivated sellers. I appreciate that.
Cool. Thank you, Tim. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Well,
looking forward to it.
Okay. If you would, let's just jump right in, and if you want to do some, I guess, kind of preface it with how Lead Propeller got started, I guess an overview of what Lead Propeller is, and then we can, when you're ready, we can go into screen share to show us what you got.
Yeah, no problem. So I think it was somewhere around 2007 that in my house buying business, I was thinking, I was doing direct mail, I was doing driving for dollars. I was doing a lot of the typical, bandit signs, things like that people do to generate motivated seller leads to be able to find houses at deep discounts. And I had a background in software. And so building websites and building different software for myself was something I liked to mess around with. And I thought, let me build a website and see if I can't start generating leads that way. See if people are actually looking for people to buy their house online. And so I did. I built one, and I spent lots of time, following different search engine optimization techniques and things like that to get it to work, only to find out that after spending weeks and weeks of tweaking and doing things, that my site was dropping in the rankings. And like learning, what was right, what was wrong, and just, fumbling through trial and error. Long story short, I did get it figured out and found out, how it worked, what kind of worked best to get the site to rank for the right keywords, the ones that would produce the actual leads that turn into deals. And so that was how most of our leads and deals came into our business, was from that website. And, several years later, it was around 2013, I was having a conversation with Brendan Turner, and we were talking about why it was that nobody at the time was offering websites for real estate investors. There wasn't really somebody out at that time doing that. And I said, well, I didn't want to offer them at first because I was busy flipping houses, right? And the thought of setting up a website for an individual investor, the time it takes to do that was not going to be worth the effort, right? I didn't want to be a service business like that. But from that conversation, I got to thinking about how I might be able to actually create templates and make it to where somebody could sign up and have everything already there, already done, right? But that they could customize it so it didn't look exactly like mine or other people's websites. And so that sounded like a fun challenge, right? So I started doing that. I built that, and that became Lead Propeller. So we launched Lead Propeller around 2014, and it was fun because it got me to think about all the different ways that the website could stand out and be of benefit, because I myself was using that to generate these motivated seller leads that I wanted to turn into deals. And one of the things that was very important to me with that was if a potential seller came to my website and they wanted to sell their house, and so they submitted the information about who they are and what the property address was to me, I needed to know that they had done that right away. And the typical way for form submissions to come into somebody that owns a website is through email. Well, guess what? We're not checking our email all the time, right? We don't typically want to get notifications we got a new email, because it'd be ridiculous, right? So, we built a text mechanism so we could get a text when a submission came in, right? So that we knew right away what their name was, what address they submitted, all that information right away. So all I had to do was click on that text and I could call them and I have their name and the address they're talking about. And I could build that rapport and set up an appointment. And that gave me a big advantage, right? Because all the other websites, if they're just submitting, because it's typically what we do, right? When we search on Google, we go to a website and we might submit the information, but then we'll turn around and go back and go to the next one and maybe submit our information there. It's just too easy, right? Why not try to submit as many as we can? And that typically is what happens. And so having that text come in right away, I can call them and I can, set that appointment up. And guess what happens at that point? They feel like they've done what they set out to do by having that appointment. Now they're moving on mentally to, okay, I've got to make sure that the house is a certain way or be prepared for that appointment for Danny to come by. And they're no longer going to the other websites and submitting most likely. So I greatly increase the odds that I'm not going to be competing with a bunch of other investors.
Got it.
And so that was really cool and an advantage that the websites provided. But that's why I'm getting into a lot of the details here already, but I'm excited about it. But that's why it started, and that's where it came from. Yeah.
No, that's very helpful, and it's definitely an advantage for those that are using that type of technology.
Right.
And as you go through, I have a list of questions, and you may answer some of these. You probably will answer a good portion of these as we go through, but at some point, I'll probably raise my hand and ask some questions, if that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
All right, so you just want me to keep going talking about the...
Yeah, if you don't mind jumping in and showing us some examples and, how it works and
let's do that. So I think, people ask sometimes, okay, it's great for lead generation. It takes time. You even said yourself, it takes some time to rank for SEO. And so as a new investor, should we have a website? Do we really need to have a website? In this day and age, the question is, or the answer is absolutely. It's like having a business card used to be, but even more important now, because even if you're not marketing online, you're doing any other kind of marketing or putting yourself out there, which you need to be doing as a real estate investor, right? It's all about finding these great deals. People are going to look for you. People are going to look for your company. They're going to look for you online. And if you're not there, then how are you going to build the trust and credibility that's required? Because the biggest thing with motivated sellers that I've experienced working with thousands of them is that they're just concerned with who they're dealing with, because they're afraid, because a lot of times they've never sold a house before, and here's an investor and they're afraid of being taken advantage of is the biggest thing that they have. It's not so much about maybe not getting as much as they hoped. They're worried about getting ripped off. Right. And so that's why one of the keywords that's pretty common that's being searched is "we buy houses scams," because, people, they get this mail from people saying they want to pay cash for their house. They just, immediately kind of assume it's some sort of scam. Right. It sounds too good to be true. And so being online to build that credibility and trust is super important. And then having that 24/7 salesperson so that they can go and look for you. A lot of people don't want to just, if you send some direct mail to them, are afraid to just call a stranger and talk to them. And so having that website gives a way for you to build that credibility and trust. And I'm going to show you some examples of what I mean by that, how a website can do that. And I'm going to use some examples of some of our clients over at Lead Propeller that have the Lead Propeller websites, and I've trusted them for years. Can I go ahead and share my screen?
Yeah, please do.
All right, so do you see the screen here?
Yes.
All right, so this is Lead Propeller's homepage. I'm going to go over to, this is Alex Wentland over in Las Vegas. And you can see right off the bat, right, he's customized this to some extent beyond what our templates have, because we have an editor allows you to do some of this. And then sometimes we'll do some extra stuff to make it look like this. But he has all of these different factors on here for credibility and trust. Right away, you see Google 5-star, Facebook. We've been featured on these things. He's got a video here with him at a property, and very clear what this is about. He buys houses in Vegas. He was on Property Brothers, so he's got that front and center. This is brilliant. This is great. And then the other factor that is really huge, and this is really where I made a lot of success with my website and getting motivated sellers to submit to me over my competition is just showing me as the person behind the website, not hiding behind some corporate website or big company website. I just showed I'm a regular person. And that's exactly what Alex is doing here. He's got a picture with him and his dogs, real friendly person. And, he's not wearing this business suit. He's not wearing if I call Alex to come and make me an offer, I can imagine a guy that's not going to come over and strong arm me. Right. And so this is great because it's his personality. It's who he is. And he shows benefits and he shows how it works, but he gets into the videos now of all these people that he's worked with. Right. And so this is just and then he has calls to action so that they know what Alex wants them to do to get a hold of him. They're all throughout the page here. So these are different things. And then the Better Business Bureau accredited business logo up here also is just one of those other factors. So like I said, having a website, whether you go with LeadPropeller, you go with, have one custom built or go with another platform, this is key to having a website that's going to convert for you, okay? Because you can get traffic to a site, but if they're, feeling like it's shady or they don't understand what it's about, you're not really going to get much from it. So if those sellers are coming over and they're saying, wow, this guy seems credible and knows what he's doing, heck, he was on Property Brothers, how could he not be trustworthy? I guarantee you this is why he's getting more submissions than his competition over in Vegas. And if you look up here, he's got Who is Alex and reviews. He even got rid of all the other pages because he knows that this is really what drives people to want to submit their information and sell to you. They don't want to read, these super long pages of information. That's great for SEO and that works, but from a seller's perspective coming onto the page, he's got it dialed in to really work well for him. Another person over here is a little bit different. His is a little bit more like the stock templates, and he's done a couple things by putting his logo and things like this. This is Brad Woodall. He's been with us for a very long time as well. And, again, with the personal video up front introducing who he is and what they do and how it works, right? The big question that somebody might have coming to his website. And then again with the videos, right? Just you can never have enough of these videos that and testimonials and things like that. And he left a lot of the default text here because it's great for SEO right here, and more testimonials. He's building the credibility. But this is basically what you're looking to do, whether you go with LeadPropeller or some other platform, is to have this set up to where you're just, showing people what it's about, who you are, and why they should trust you and why they should submit information to you. And so these are just two examples of that. And you can tell the vastly different look of the two sites. That's one of the huge reasons why people choose LeadPropeller over other platforms or things, is because, the websites can look completely different. And, as more and more people get a website under a certain platform, they start to all look the same. And I think that confuses the heck out of sellers when they're going from one website to another. Like, I thought I just was on this site, and it causes some confusion. But this is just some examples of the websites. He's left a lot of the other pages which showcase what comes default with LeadPropeller. And that turns out to be one of the big reasons as well that people are going with LeadPropellers, because even if you have somebody that can build you a website, the biggest issue that's a pain in the butt for me and for a lot of people that I know is coming up with what the heck it should say, right? Not only do you have to have it to where it's optimized for search engines and it needs to be mobile friendly, but you also have to come up with all of this content and how it should say, how it should be worded to increase conversion rates and work for SEO and all that kind of stuff. And that's what's so beautiful about LeadPropeller. If you want, Tim, I can walk through what the experience is when you sign up for LeadPropeller, how easy it is, because we're built on convenience. Real estate investors are busy. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was some of my questions was, what do you get? How easy is it to set up and those type of things? So yeah, that would be great.
Sure. So, as real estate investors, that's the biggest thing, right? We're busy. We're busy trying to get leads and then going on those appointments, making the offers, follow up. The last thing we need to be doing is having our head down, typing, trying to build a website or put all the content in a website and do all that kind of stuff. We built this so that you can come in and sign up for Lead Propeller and have your website live, personalized and customized for you within like 15 minutes. And you don't have to contact us to do it, right? It's not like you sign up and then you have to go back and forth with us about what you want. It's all there built into the system so that you can choose your template, and then you can put the information that's going to be put on the website and for you, and then it has all the content already there. And so what happens is, I'm going to show you one of the websites I set up really quick before this. This is a default template. I've not done anything here after I published my website, after I signed up. And you can tell this, it just comes with all the content. But what you'll notice is, you know, there's the phone number, my phone number in here. And it has my name here, Danny Johnson. And it's got my location, San Antonio. And this is what happens. It goes throughout the entire website before it publishes, and it puts your location that you're targeting. It puts your information for your name and your company name and your phone number all throughout, okay? And so that you already have the website built, all the pages are there. If I go to another page, I still have my name, I still have my phone number, my location, all throughout this website. And so that's how you quickly sign up and have it. When you come into the system, I'm going to walk through basically adding a website. I'm going to kind of show you what it's like, because when you go in, the first thing you're going to be asked to do is choose which type of site, okay? Because we have a motivated seller lead generation site, which I recommend is the first one that everybody gets, because that's your bread and butter, right? Getting these motivated seller leads. So that's this first one here, motivated seller lead generation. And the other ones we have are sites that you can get if you're selling or renting properties often. You can create listings on your website and do that. We have a wholesale website, which I also recommend actually as our second website that you would get. And that one, you can build your buyers list. If you're going to do wholesaling, you need a buyers list of investor cash buyers. And this is a way to showcase any wholesale deals, but more importantly, get names, emails, and even phone numbers of potential cash buyers, so that when you get that deal, you can email your list, you can text your list about that new deal. We also have land buying websites if that's something that you do. So it's specific to land. But coming in, what you're going to do is you're going to choose, you know, if you're going to start with the motivated seller lead generation site, you're going to choose that. And then you have to have a domain name, okay? This is where other platforms force you to go to some other registrar to get a domain name, and then you got to link up their service to the domain name, and it can get kind of technical, right? We wanted to avoid that. So you can still do that. If you already own a domain name or you prefer to register it somewhere else, you can still do that and hook it up. But if you don't, if that scares you or confuses you, it's understandable. If stuff gets complicated, you can register a new domain name straight through Lead Propeller, and you still own it. So if you get the domain name and you for whatever reason want to change platforms, you can have that transferred out of Lead Propeller into another one for you to manage the way you want. So there's no worries about having it trapped or anything like that. You own whatever domain name you registered through us. And so what we can do is come up with a domain name. Let me see, like DannyBuysHouses.com. Check availability. That's already been registered, obviously. So what happens if you can't come up with one? Well, we thought about that and we created this suggestion tool. So this is really cool. So I can put in, you know, San Antonio, and I can put in, let me just put in like Daniel or something, and I'm going to put generate suggestions. Now what's going to happen is it's going to put together some combinations of great domain names for a real estate investor and show you which ones are actually available, and then you can choose one, right?
Oh,
so I can see
cool.
iBuySanAntonioHouses.com is available, which is kind of surprising. That's a pretty good domain name, I think. Let me see, Daniel Buys Homes Cash, that's awesome. Daniel Buys Houses Cash. These are great domain names. If you can, I always recommend going with the shortest one you can, okay? If you have a company name in mind and you want to brand it that way, that's another good way to go. You can tell that that's what Brad did. He did Arbor View Property, so he's really branding that business. And then Alex went the way that I went, which was with my name and with me personally, and it's Alex Buys Vegas Houses. So those are two pretty much recommended ways to go about naming and doing the domain name.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
once you,
that domain name tools, that's cool.
yeah, it's great because that's a big thing where people get stuck. They're like, I don't know what my domain name should be. And you spend a lot of time just playing around trying to find that perfect one. And I think a lot of us stress a lot over that, but we don't really need to. And if you get stuck and you just feel like, oh, even with suggestions, I'm not sure, you can click back to dashboard and do that at a later time. But what would happen if you did do one? You would go through and basically where it takes you is into the website settings, and it has you put in your information for where you want the text for when a lead came in to text you. So you put your own cell phone number in, and then autoresponder, email, stuff like that, so that you can get notifications. And then public information. This is the stuff that gets published throughout the website. So when I was showing the website here, I was showing that my name is on it, the location. This is, oops. This is where that's still, let me move this window because it's overlaying on that one. This is where all that stuff gets populated from. So at any point, you can come in and change this information and publish again and have it go throughout the site and change it all for you. If you need to change your phone number, you don't need to go through every single page of your website to do it. You just do it here and then republish. You see, I misspelled the name here. I just put DANNN. So if I change that and then save it and then I go republish, it'll change that throughout the site as well. So I can just publish there or go back to edit your website and publish. So I can go into this forever. We could talk for 2 hours, but I think it might get to where it overwhelms some people. That's the basic gist of getting the domain name, filling out the form of your information, and then you basically hit publish and it builds the website, and then you can go see it, and you basically end up with, I chose the clean template for this one, and this is what I ended up with. So, I mean, if you know your domain name that you want to use, it's available. You could have this done within 5-10 minutes.
Okay. And then, cool. So can I ask some questions?
Sure, yeah.
All right. So based on what I just saw, you don't have to have a webmaster to run it. You can do it yourself. You can edit everything yourself. And you can make it as complex or as simple as you want.
Right.
And
if you want to edit the website, if you come into the editor, it's going to show you here. I mean, it's basically, if I click on We Buy Houses up here, I can change this stuff. If I change We Buy Homes, click done. Now it says that, and I save it and I republish, and then that's on the website. So super simple website editor to use, change images and all that kind of stuff.
Okay. So is it kind of a custom page builder, or is it built on known softwares like WordPress or Beaver Builder, things like that?
Yeah, good question. No, it's a completely custom editor that we built just to make it really simple to do. And so you can just come in and do this. It's not built on a known thing. We actually built the whole system on a custom platform so that we can better control page load speed and all that kind of stuff. Because sometimes with like WordPress, you end up with, slow loading pages and everything. So we built this it's a search engine optimization thing about page load speed.
Right.
Google wants to see pages that appear really quickly.
Okay. And so I can add, I see add landing pages. So we can add pages to it.
Right. Yeah. You can add landing pages. You can create area served landing pages. Now this is really cool because if you create, so in San Antonio, there's several areas, right? We've got San Antonio, but within San Antonio, we have Balcones Heights, we have Alamo Heights, we have cities within the city and super location. And that's called micro targeting, like micro local targeting, because with SEO and ranking a website, when you try to rank a website, we're not typically trying to rank for the entire United States. That's ridiculous. It's very difficult to do. We're focused on our market that we're targeting, right? So when you look at my website, I was showing San Antonio throughout because that's my focus. If I want to rank for Texas, that's going to be a lot more difficult because the people ranking for San Antonio are going to do much better in San Antonio because Google wants to give local results. And so we focus on that. But if there's cities within cities, we're getting even more granular and moving into the locations within the city And so what this does is, let me make sure I'm on the right page. I'm on the House No More site. So if I go over here to this one, House No More area landing pages, what I could do is I could say, it's just the page name. In the area served, I can say Alamo Heights. And I can do create pages. And what that's going to do is create that page for me. And then I can link to that somewhere on my page. And now what I have is a home page that has We Buy Houses in Alamo Heights. And so I can create all those pages just instantly, because all it's doing is copying what I have on the home page, but putting the focus as that more granular Alamo Heights. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, let me get into, you've already kind of touched on some of the marketing through SEO stuff, but let me ask, let's see here. So does Lead Propeller provide any leads, or you're on your own?
Yeah, with that, we get that question quite a bit because of the name. We do not provide leads. We do provide the website, and with SEO baked in, if you want to try to rank in your location, typically people that are ranking at the top are paying a service to do that. And so we have recommended partners that we work with and that you would work with separately to do that. So if you want to rank, you can do it yourself over time, but it takes quite a bit of work. And we provide you with a website that's ready for that, for another service to try to get you backlinks and stuff like that. But we don't provide leads. That's more to have the website, and then you provide it in your other marketing to help you convert any traffic from your direct mail or anything else. But we don't provide leads directly now.
Okay. And does the website integrate with other software as well? Like maybe other texting services, I don't know, voicemail services, things like that?
Yeah, well, typically what we have a way to do integrations through Zapier and stuff like that, and with webhooks, so that you can set it up to where when somebody submits the information, you could have it pretty much go to any other system. And so typically people have it hooked up to go into their CRM system. And so that's what we provide FlipPilot for also. You can have these leads go directly into FlipPilot, or if you're using Podio or using anything like that, you can have them go into those systems as well.
Okay.
So yeah, it integrates in that way.
All right, cool.
Also, people use it for email platforms too, like MailChimp.
Okay.
So when you're building your buyers list, if somebody comes down here and clicks on looking for investment properties and they say, hey, I'm an investor buyer, they fill out this and then send me deals, I can hook this up to go into MailChimp so that I have an email list of these investor buyers. So when I have a deal, I can email blast them.
Okay. Good to know. All right. So is the Motivated Sellers website, is that like a standalone package, or is that part of a bigger package? How does that work?
Yeah, we have a single website package on Lead Propeller, and that's the starter package, one website. It's $49 a month, and then you can get a professional one that's 3 websites for $79 a month. And this is the recommended one because of having the Motivated Seller site, the wholesale site, and then if you want to target a second location, you can get another Motivated Seller site for another city, or you can get one of the selling renting sites. It's just your choice.
Okay. And then, so what kind of customer support is there? How's customer support work?
Yeah, we provide, we're the only people that I'm aware of that provide a phone support. So we have in-house phone support, and if you've got any issues, you can email us if you want. We respond typically during business hours. I think their time right now is like 7 minutes average to respond, which is pretty crazy for software. You don't typically have that kind of, typically it's like next day response for email support. But we're very quick for email support, and then we also have phone support Monday through Friday, 9 to 4. You can call in and get help with anything you need.
Okay, and I know some services have limits on number of leads. I assume that's not an issue with this at all. Okay.
Nope.
And you mentioned earlier about the text notifications setting Lead Propeller apart. Are there other aspects of the motivated seller website that set Lead Propeller apart from other options?
Yeah, I also touched on it earlier, and the big reason why a lot of people come to us from other platforms is because they wanted it to look different. They wanted a site that stood out on its own and looked different. And so that customizability is what they wanted. And so they come to us for that. So that is one of the big differences. And then obviously a difference from like Wix or something like that is the content's already there,
Yeah.
and built from experience, not just from putting content in. The content has a rhyme and reason to all of it. And it's been proven over years. So that's another big differentiator. Um, and like we said before, we've worked personally with thousands of motivated sellers, so we know the mindset. We know what we're walking into when we walk into a house, how they kind of are seeing us and maybe are a little apprehensive. And so we have the websites kind of designed around the fact that that's something we're all dealing with as real estate investors, that we're all facing.
No, yeah, this is really cool. I'm glad you were able to take me through it, and I've asked you. You answered most of the questions I had, just kind of going through the demo, and then I asked my others. Is there anything you want to say to kind of wrap up this demo to kind of
Yeah,
tie a
for
bow on
sure.
it?
Yeah, we the benefit of just having that website there for your credibility and trust and everything, and to show that you're a legitimate business, right? Because we're advertising, a lot of us, we buy houses cash or we buy houses fast, and that takes a little bit of professionalism to pull off, for people to say, yeah, I'm not getting that from what I'm finding about your business online. If you can really buy houses cash, are you a legitimate business that I can find, right? Like, are you there to be found? And so, um, like I said before, it's just in this day and age, it's a great thing to really have on your side, because as you're paying a lot of money to try to get, or a lot of work, money or your time to get these motivated seller leads, it's best to have all the things in place to be able to turn that lead, that seller, into a deal, to be able to buy that house. Otherwise, you're generating leads, but you're not being able to convert them. So I hope that whether you go with Lead Propeller or another system, that you have that for yourself and your business, because I think it's really required today.
Okay, thank you. And for those that are with us, Danny has been very generous and actually has come up with a special offer for REIClub members, which we appreciate. Um, It'll be a button or a link someplace on this page, so just look for it. But he's offering 2 free months of the professional package at no charge. So you can get in, you can check it out, you can get up and going. You can, I mean, in 2 months, you can probably turn a deal and pay for the website for the next however many years. So that's an awesome offer. And Danny, we certainly appreciate your generosity in doing that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, I like you, Tim, and I think your platform is great. And, we've spent some time recently at an event together, and got to know you a lot better. So that offer has not been extended anywhere else. That nobody else has that offer, to be able to get 2 free months. So it definitely is a lot, bigger than what we typically do. And there's costs that we have when you register a domain and all that kind of stuff. So, but we're willing to do that because we really believe in the platform and think that you're going to love it. So, thank you for the opportunity.
Well, again, I'm going to go ahead and end it here, but I do appreciate you taking the time. And I'm sure all the REI Club members are very grateful as well. So thank you very much, Danny. I appreciate it.
Thank you.